everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're taking a look at the Studio Series 86 Scourge. Now at first I wasn't going to pick this guy up, but after I got the hot rod I kind of figured, you know what, yeah, I'd pick him up. And it's also partially because I need a lot more bad guys in my collection, as right now the only bad guys I've got on my display are the Titans Return Overlord and Dinobot 2 from Beast Wars. So yeah. And we've got Scourge. From the packaging is very similar to Hot Rod, where you've got the figure right there, some artwork right there, Studio Series, his name and faction, what it comes from, which is the Transformers the movie. It says Generations, Transformers, Takara up here, Hasbro down there. The minimum age you've got to be for playing with the Transformer, which is kind of funny because I think the Black Series figures had lower age. On this side, you've got a bigger picture of that figure with it saying Transformers Authentic down there, and this little hole saying 86. And on this side, we've got a close-up of the artwork saying 8605, which is meaning that this is the 5th figure in the 86 subline. Studio Series, Voyager class at the bottom. Then here we've got the back, which shows renders of him in robot and vehicle mode, along with him with pretty much everything. Up here it says big screen inspired, Heralds of Unicron, backdrop included, and like a little micro bio, which pretty much just says Unicron reformats Thundercracker into Scourge. And not much more at the bottom, so I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, get this guy out of the packaging and transformed, and I'll be back in a split second. Alrighty, here is Scourge out of the packaging with everything he comes with. I'm going to start off with the one accessory nobody's going to use but still looks kind of neat, which is his backdrop, which is very similar to the Hot Rod one that I took a look at for the last Studio Series 86 figure, where it's the red thing that says Transformers the movie on the side saying Studio Series 86 on both sides, but a little bit different on each side, and pretty much the character's big scene, which for Scourge was pretty much just like Galvatron and Cyclonus, where they were getting formatted, and this one specifically shows everyone but Skywarp being transformed, which I guess kind of makes sense. Not Skywarp, Thundercracker getting transformed into the new guy, because the new guy has already been transformed, but we'll take a look at him in a minute. And next up we've got his accessories, which are more useful in robot mode but still have small function in vehicle mode, which is his gun and his little blast effect, which looks kind of funky. Let's try and straighten this out. And now for the main piece in vehicle mode, which I don't know about anybody else who's taken a look at this, but this does feel like a pretty hefty space boat. Now yes, there is the legs poking out at the bottom, and yes, this guy is a shell former, but Scourge has kind of always been a shell former, unless you're talking about RID 2001 Scourge, and that's just an Optimus Prime, but black, which I really want a Nemesis Prime or Black Convoy, but we're talking about this Scourge today. So he's got the look down pretty down pat, and he does have one minor gimmick, which is you can flip this up to have his head exposed, like in one part of the movie, and I think he did this in season 3 of G1. It's been forever since I've seen season 3, so don't quote me on that. And because of this thing in the back, you can kind of look his head from left to right. You can bring it down, which won't look exactly right, but he'll be able to do that a lot more. But yeah, I guess I'll put that back into how it was. Then you can stick the blast effect on pretty much any one of these 3 ports, but it's really best for this middle one, so he can be firing from up there. And you can mount his gun on either side where these 2 ports are, so you can mount it here. or you can mount it here. So yeah. And I guess one other minor thing is if you want these things not as high, you can push them down. And yeah, that is pretty much him in, I guess, spaceship mode, even though I and many other people compare him to a boat for anyone who wants to go space fishing. And he's even got little things where you can kind of stick someone's feet in if you wanted to, like right here. So I guess you could have someone standing on him. Anyway, let's get past that. So let's start transforming him. So far I've moved these down, pop these things up. Gonna move a lot of stuff out. Let's move these things down. Come on. There we go. Alright, so yeah. I pretty much just unpegged these, lifted these up. Now we're gonna close them up. Alright, what are these parts stuck on? They shouldn't be stuck on anything. I was just trying to transform them the wrong way. There we go. And we can do that with these. There we go. Split the legs. Pop the arms off the legs. Configure them back into where they're supposed to be. And flip out the front his toe and the heel spur, which that is really in there. I kind of wish I had nails for that. Yeah, I'm gonna need to use the X-Acto knife for both of those. Oh yeah, then lastly, just pretty much flip this thing at the top of his head around, be correct, then kind of just configure his backpack stuff to how you want it, which I'm not sure how I want it. I'm pretty sure this is too far low. I guess, yeah, no, that's too far up. And that's too far down. I'm gonna pause the video, make some final adjustments to his transformation, then I'll be right back. Alrighty, here we've got Scourge all transformed into robot mode. Took me a second to figure out how to get his backpack like this. I'm just being real slow today, I don't know why. But yeah. His accessories are exactly the same as vehicle mode, except he has a few other places to hold it. As he's got a gun you can just stick in there, which it is really tight for me. There we go. You can also stick it in here, and he's also got some ports on his lower legs and shoulders for some reason. I guess that's more for siege stuff, as the Studio Series 86 figures are very similar to how Siege and Co. has got. And you can still put the blast effect into his gun to make it look like he's firing. You know, imagine a G1 blast sound effect. I think it works good enough. But I'll take these out of his hand for now, so we can take a proper look at the figure. And I say this looks like a pretty damn good Scourge. The Tracker. At least I think Scourge was the Tracker. You could probably very easily get multiples of this guy to make Scourge and the Sweeps, but I think Hasbro might be releasing a slightly different version of him as the Sweeps. I don't know if that's going to be a slightly modified version of him with less paint, or a slightly downscaled one. I guess we'll have to find out, but pretty much let's start off by taking a look at the paint, which I know I'm a bit inconsistent about looking at paint, but I figured this one's one we can do that with. His face looks pretty damn good. I like the lighter blue and darker blue. His mustache and beard look pretty good. His eyes in person are a pretty nice red. They seem a little darkened out, probably because they're painted directly onto blues. Another spot that is surprisingly painted are these holes in his shoulders and his ankles, which is a little bit easier to see on the ankles. They are a bit dark because I feel they probably could have used an extra layer or two. And another point of paint that I'm surprised they did are his nails, as I'm pretty sure the nails are something that probably would have been skipped over by other people, or earlier Hasbro, like a few years back when they were doing stuff like Combiner Wars and stuff, and especially if you was something like a Last Night or RID 2015 figures, those were not very good. Yeah, overall, everything else paint-wise, I say personally is up to snuff. I do feel that they probably could use a little bit more red in here and there. But other than that, he looks good. Now on to articulation, which, starting off at the top of the head, he can look down that far and up that far. He's very limited looking up. And he does feel like he has a ball joint, but I also feel he cannot go full 360 because of his beard. But you can still get kind of everything you need. His arms move out that far, which is pretty nice, as that's over what the usual limit is. They can go up and back that far and down and back that far, which is limited because of the very obvious backpack. He's got a bicep swivel, a little over 90 at the elbow, which is nice. And then he's got a wrist swivel, which on mine is very tight. He's got a nice waist swivel, which I'm starting to notice a trend that more and more Transformers now are starting to get those. His legs move up this far and back this far, which is surprising because he's got a backpack, but he does have enough space to kick right on through. He's got a kind of thigh swivel, but it feels very limited and almost like it's got detents, even though it kind of doesn't. As it look, I do like how they tried to make it not look hollow, but still looks weird. Then his knees, which these are tight, are also a little past 90. Nothing at the calf, and then he's got very springy ankle tilt. I'll see if it's any better on the other side. Yeah, so slight ankle tilt and toes that move inward. So overall, decent articulation. I kind of wish that this ankle wasn't so springy and moving back. So I'm going to pose him up and everything and give my final thoughts on him. So see you in a second. Alright, so my final thoughts on this guy. Overall, I say he's pretty good. Yes, he is a shell former, but that is kind of the nature of Scourge. So it's not too big of a deal for me. I do feel that Hasbro kind of went pretty good on the paints, as there's a lot more paint than I expected on him. As he's got his fingers, a lot of the blue stuff on his forearms, and his knees on his legs, which are of the darker blue plastic. And I don't know about me, but it looks almost like his upper thighs are painted in person, as they're a lot more glossier than the other light blue plastics. But I also feel the reds in these ports on his shoulders and ankles could have been applied a bit thicker. I wish this ankle wasn't so springy and moving back into its regular position. And maybe we could have gotten an extra hinge for... Oh my god, I was stupid. You can hinge them back. Alright, that problem has just been mitigated. I was about to say I wish you could have hinged his kind of cape wings back, but since I was a dummy, that was skipped over in articulation, but it's still in the video. And you know, I say overall he looks pretty good. He looks like the G1 Scourge. If Hasbro actually doesn't release sweeps, you can pretty much get multiples of this guy to get the Scourge and the sweeps, but if they do release a sweep, I'm almost certain it's just gonna either be slightly downscaled version of this guy or a version of this guy with less paint or slightly different paint. Like, for example, I guess maybe they don't have the fingernails painted, or their blue is slightly different. Maybe they've got a different gun. I don't know, but overall I say this Scourge is pretty good, and I found mine at Walmart. I'm sure that you can find them at Walmart and Target and whoever else is selling Studio Series 86. He should be hitting stores at the time of this video's release, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you guys for watching. See you all next time.